It's the grind. It's the grind. It's the grind. It's the grind.
Cup week is over, and what a week it was. Ups and downs, and so much fun. So much fun. I had such a great time down at the Call of the Card. Obviously, the Melbourne Cup was disappointing, then bounced back Oaks Day with plenty of winners, and then Saturday was a great day. So it was a down, up, down, up. It was a roller coaster of a ride, but we got there in the end. So let's go firstly and have a look at the results for Cup Week in the developer here. We'll just go over to the main screen and have a look if I can find it. It's late on Sunday night. It's been a long weekend betting on Hong Kong, then banging this out. So I'm getting it out tonight, which will hit you tomorrow. Because I've got a shitload on, so I'm going to try and get this out of the way. Let's talk. Firstly, we're going to just go through what happened Cup Week. Then I'm going to go back and have a look at some races from Saturday, some backs and some lays. Then I want to get into some analysis as well, some overall analysis, and also have a look at the journey since we started on June 12, the ups and the downs, and how we handled that as well, and exactly what happened and exactly what's happened after that. Let's go through and have a look. And if we've got time at the end, I'll have a look at some favourites, how they go on certain tracks since 2018 in my back-end system developer, and also jockeys if we get time. But let's get into it and go from the start. So the start, which feels like about a month ago now, was on Derby Day, which was on the 1st of November. So the 1st of November, I'm just going to go and have a look because a lot of people bought the Melbourne Cup packages, which thank you very much. Either the 8 days or the 6 days. But we're just going to have a look at those last 4 days. So the last 4 days of the actual Melbourne Cup Carnival. Let's have a look how we did on them. If anyone's got any feedback as well, please send it through, either email or put it in the comments, and I'll get back to you. I love feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Say whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I'm always there to answer any questions and get some constructive feedback. I love it. Even the negative feedback, I love it about the Melbourne Cup and everything. It inspires me to work harder, gets me back on track, and I don't give a shit if anyone gives it to me because I know what we do at TKZ. I know how hard we work, and I know we're going to get good results. So none of that stuff worries me. We're not going to be right every race. We're not going to be wrong every race. We're not going to be right every day. We're not going to be wrong every day. But in the end, we grind hard every day and grind these bookies into the ground, hopefully, and do our best to produce the best product we can every day. Let's get into it. As I keep saying, rightio, Derby Day. Let's run this and see how we went on Derby Day, day one. 38 bets, 7 winners, minus 19% on Derby Day on the first there. Let's just clear that and just run it again just in case I've been doing something else. Right, at minus 19%, not a good start to the carnival. Then we went into Melbourne Cup Day. As everyone knows, I had a big crack in the cup and did my ass. So my staking on the cup was not reflective of these results. Obviously, I lost over the carnival. So Cup Day is 15% profit. 56 bets, 16 winners, 28%. So 28% strike rate, 15%. I lost on Cup Day because I overstaked on the Melbourne Cup. I was prepared to do that. Playing up my Broncos winnings. So I'm not going to go into it again, but what I do every year, I bet up on the NRL Grand Final. I bet up on the Melbourne Cup, and that's separate business for me. That's separate. Put it on the side. Move on. So when I lost on that cup, I didn't sit there dwelling over it and everything else. Kembla goes in 7 minutes. Let's get into it. Let's attack. Let's get back on track and just do our job and keep betting and just keep following that staking plan and keep following the system that has got me to where I have got to today, which is just putting your head down, working, following your plan, following your staking plan, following your selections, doing the work day in, day out, and then the results come. You don't let emotions take over at all. And a lot of you might say, oh, but you let emotions take over on the Melbourne Cup. Not really, because that was a conscious decision. It wasn't a spur of the moment because I was losing on the day with 20 minutes to go and going, oh, shit, I'm going to bet up on the Melbourne Cup. It was a conscious decision to put that work in for 3 months out. Yes, it didn't come off, but that's out of my control. I can't control results. I can only control the work and the execution. And when those 24 horses were in the barrier ready to jump, I was very happy with what I did. And I'm still happy with what I did now. Even though I lost, I would turn it around and say, I don't, don't do that. But we don't know what the result is. So next year, God willing, I will be doing exactly the same thing again, but I will be backing the winner. All right. So 56 bets, 16 winners, 15%. So a little bit down going into Oaks Day. If you hadn't been following the staking plan, let's have a look how we go on Oaks Day. Wednesday I won as well. What I was really happy about is I was so calm going into the cup. I was very calm after the cup, and as soon as that cup was over, I actually started winning. Believe it or not, I won. I was losing going into the cup, apart from the cup, and then afterwards I won. Wednesday I won. Thursday, let's have a look at. Thursday, 10 bets, 5 winners, 87%. You beauty. There they are. There's the winners there. And if you want to as well, you can go over to TKZ, the King Dot Zone, and you can check all these. You can go back 2 weeks. You can go through all the form. I'll show you in a sec how you can do that if you don't know. So it's all there. Nothing's hidden. Everything is transparent. So that's Oaks Day, and then Saturday, Champions Day, on the wet track down in Flemington, which I didn't like. I don't think I backed a winner at Flemington from memory. I didn't have a lot of bets though, but this is across the board, obviously, not just Flemington. 34 bets, 10 winners, 34% ROI. So on the 4 days of the carnival, because I know that a lot of people bought the package, outlay to win $200 with a maximum outlay of $100, $7,687. Return $9,013. Profit $1,326. And an ROI of 17.2%. That is based off the high price, which is after release, the average of the high price for the main bookies, which averages about 105%. You cannot get that price, but if you put in Betfair and you shop around and you get a bit of best tote and you do your best, you should sort of get close to that if you have the time to sort of sit there and you're a smaller punter and you can boost a few things and do a few things and chop around. You should be able to get fairly close to that into 105%. I personally lost over the 4 days. So sometimes, and it happened a couple of weeks ago, I said on the Saturday sessions with Rich, I was winning at the time, ended up losing on the day, but I won, and everyone was into me. Oh, how can you win? You your tips were shit, blah, blah, blah. And you're in front. Well, I was late a few horses and I had my nose in front and I said I won. I was happy for Matty because he was having a big day, really, not really about myself. But my point is that I was in front then, and a lot of people might look at that and go, how are you winning when, your tips are shit? But this time, my tips are good, 17% profit, and I've actually lost. I've lost. I laid a few winners, did a couple of things that I bet on the cup, obviously, and lost, but things sort of didn't fall my way like they sort of could. I just sort of didn't have that much luck over the week as well, and things just sort of didn't pan out my way. So I lost for the week. I hope that everyone won, and the tips for the let's just have a look for the actual whole week. How the tips were if we go from the start of November to the 8th. Let's have a look. So yeah, I hope everyone's won for the week, and even if you didn't win, I think that the numbers would have helped you in some way. I hope so anyway. Maybe avoiding bets or just massaging your own stuff. So 14%. That's for the week. Today, if you got involved in Ararat Cup, which was free, was a really good day too. I had a winning day today. I had a pretty good day. So today was good. I feel like we're getting back on track. Well, we've been back on track for a while now, but I'll go through that actually later. The journey, the TKZ journey. So let's talk now about Saturday. What I want to do is talk about a couple of winners and a couple of things that happened that I think were quite interesting. So I was talking about before you can go, and I'll just show you this for anyone who doesn't know. So today's races on TKZ, you don't have to have a subscription. Just log in. It's free to join. Log in. Go here if you want to check out the past form. Right, you go to select date. So let's go to Saturday. Saturday, the 8th of November. And the race that we're going to have a look at is Rose Hill Race 9. It's great to get a couple of winners up too in the max bet. Hopefully a few people took the multi. This winner, Vivier, into the Brisbane winner, which was absolutely off the map. In race 5, which is about 420 into 220. It was absolutely smashed. But I'm not going to go into those races because I've already talked about them. We know we found the winner. I don't want to go into why and go back through that again because we know that. We've done that on Max Bet. What I wanted to talk about is Weeping Woman. So Weeping Woman did have a high relative weight and also a predicted pace negative. But what's interesting in this race is that this was only an 1100 meter race. And as I said, I'm much more inclined to put emphasis on, and I think the market is as well, emphasis on predicted pace on distance races, such as the Five Diamonds as well, which I predicted the market perfectly. This was an interesting one because it's an 1100 meter race, and Weeping Woman's gone 450 to 320 with the high weight and the predicted pace negative. So I found that one very interesting. And what's also interesting in this race is that I had the price shorter, and it's very good for predicting fluctuations as well. These prices, when you compare the Bullet to the TKZ Open, it's very good for predicting fluctuations. It's not always perfect, but as you can see here, it's set $10, 7 to 11, back into 8. 5 eased a bit, and so on. 9 to 11, 480, when 380 at to 420, and I think Betfair was out to over $5 taxation in the end. I don't get the prices completely right all the time. No one does, but it's very good for predicting fluctuations. The other race that I wanted to talk about is Flemington Race 9. So this race is interesting from a point of view of patterns. So on the Saturday set, Pride of Jenny, who drifted from 380 out to $5, 580 on Betfair, was quite easy. The pattern with Pride of Jenny was 11th first, 9th first, 10th first, 7th first. And then she failed in the Champions Mile again on Saturday. But what is interesting as well, pattern-wise, so there's a lot of patterns evolved here before with Chia Wolf as well, who won in Sydney and had won that previous race, the King Charles, the year before, and was pretty well backed in that race around that $10, $12 mark when he had no form at all. But I'm talking about fluctuations here. I'm not really talking about results. So Mr. Brightside won this race last year and was heavily backed, 5 into $3.50, say. And Pride of Jenny failed, ran 8th, I think, in this race last year, on top of that other pattern that I just spoke about. And I think that's why she was so easy in the market in this race as well. So it's very important to recognize patterns in form, and it's something that's hard to do data wise, to pick up on these patterns with AI technology and everything else that's available now. It's a little bit easier, but it's still you still got to know where to find those different patterns, whether it may be a gear change. That the thing that I was talking about at Eagle Farm. I can't remember its name. That not Lyles, the one that we backed that won. Not Larrikin Road. Where are you? Race 6. Here we go. Cavalry Man, which Ladbrokes wanted to gap the whole way. They bet $5, and then they were 420 when we did the max bet on last Friday. But what I'm trying to say is that the pacifiers went on 3 starts ago for Cavalry Man now, and it really lifted him. So there's patterns you got to see those, like a gear change pattern, for example. Blinkers on the horse one, blinkers off, fail, blinkers back on, bang. So it's hard to do to get on top of a lot of these patterns, and there's different patterns, whether they may be jockey changes or runs from spell where horses peak, or maybe they peak when the on the back up and then the horse is backing up again, or maybe they're better from wide barriers because they don't like horses drawn inside them, and vice versa inside. Maybe they're better in slow pace races, fast pace races, all these different patterns that can emerge, and that's why the game is so great, because it is hard to get on top of a lot of those things, but if you've got a deep understanding and you do your work, you can find them. So that's what I wanted to talk about, those two races in particular. Okay, let's move on and have a look since we started how we're going with these official tips, and just get an overview of exactly where we're at, and then we'll go and have a look at a little bit the ups and downs and see what we've gone through since start. So let's have a look. High price. I'll show you BSP as well, because it's shows how accurate it is. So high price, 5.7%. We are in front of the curve, so over 10% in front of the curve. Betfair SP, which is a really accurate form. Really, these Betfair SPs are very, very accurate. So 2.7 pre-com. So 2.7% pre-com. So we're only beating the Betfair market by, say, it's -1. That'd be 3.5%, 3.7, but say probably 3.5%. So picking off the top bookies price is a lot more beneficial because you're paying commission on the other one. Let's have a look at the number one selection as well, which was always outperforming the official tips, but now the official tips have got their nose in front now, I do believe. Let's have a look. So 5.3%. So official tips, 6,885 races we have tipped on for 1,918 winners, 27% strike rate for 5.3% profit at high price. Let's just have a look at the lays, just out of interest here as well. So the lays at high price are, stand by, minus 13.6. So you can see the difference, 4,500 bets, minus 13, backs +5, number one selections +5. So you can see the difference between the horses I don't like and the horses I do like. There's 18%. So that curve is good. Love it to be better, but it is good. And it's heading in the right direction as well, which we'll go and have a look at now. So let's just have a look at the journey since we started. So I'm just going to talk official tips here. So we started on June the 12th. So let's just have a look at June. June the 12th to June the 30th. I'll go through this pretty quick. June the 12th to June the 30th. We started off good, plus 13%. Then we went through to July, June into July. And July, we hit a bit of a snag, up and down a little bit. Couldn't really get going in July. Let's have a look at the end result for July was -6.1%. So we had a pretty shit month, but it's an average. Average is -5, which sort of didn't really go anywhere, but it's a loss. It's a loss, which is no good at all. Hoping for a good start to August, pretty upbeat. We'll turn this around. Stick with the program type stuff. Let's have a look how we go for the first 2 weeks of August and have a look what's happened here. So 159 bets for 19 winners. So this is really interesting from what you have to go through. Number 1 as a professional punter, number 2 as a hobby punter, number 3 as a human being, having to deal with a run like this, betting to win $200 after July too. So you've lost in July, then you come into August, hoping for upbeat. This is 2 weeks. So it's 159 bets. It's quite a lot of bets. You've done your ass. You've lost 2,400 betting to win $200, maximum bet of 100. You've done 2,500. So it's interesting from the fact that you can see how bad the runs can get. And I don't care who you are. You're lying if you're saying you're not having bad runs. Everyone has bad runs. If you're betting at volume of number of bets, if you're just having one bet a day and one bet a week, you're not going to notice the bad runs so much. But I'm talking about doing this at a sort of a high level with quite a high volume number of bets. You sort of up, down. It's never just a curve straight up at all, and it never has been for me anyway. Hopefully, if you've got a system where you're arbitraging and you're backing on Betfair and you're laying, and it's all very very smooth, that could happen. But if you're doing it like I'm doing it anyway, yeah, you're going to have bad runs. This was a particularly bad one. And I sat in this chair and I said plenty of times during that 2 weeks, I fronted up, did the grind, and said it will turn. I know it will turn. And since then, since the next 2 weeks, yeah, it did turn. And let's just have a look at the next 2 weeks. So after that, things have obviously got better, which is just fantastic. So after that, the next 2 weeks after that horror 2 weeks, plus 20%, 295, 78 bets, 26. Then we head into September, 1st of September through to the 30th. I'll just go by month now. I'm not going to break things down too much. So September, 5% profit there, back on track, not shooting the lights out, but back on track. Still waiting for a good month where we really sort of knock it out of the park for a good 4 weeks and build that bank. So October, let's see how we went in October. So what I got out of that 2 weeks and what I got out of the losing spell, and I've said this before, I hate losing, but you have to lose, you have to fail to make yourself better, to make yourself work harder, to get out of the shit. And I did that, but I do it whether I'm winning or I'm losing. I've got a mindset where I'm pretty much a bit sick, where I think I am losing all the time. Even when I'm winning, my back's against the wall, and it makes me work harder. It makes me get the form better. And it also makes me get the form better that I know people are paying for it as well. That makes me work harder. Righto, this month, October, 7%. So we're heading in an upward trajectory, which is fantastic. And then we head into November, and we had a look before. I think we're winning. Let's just do it again because we're winning. And have another look. I think it's about 14%. 14%, 185 bets, 52 winners, 28%. Fantastic. Let's really try and keep November going and keep above the 10%. We haven't had a plus 10% month yet, which is disappointing. Hopefully November's it. And hopefully I've got used to the system a little bit because I have a few new things in there as well. I'm reviewing with the boys. We're reviewing the tips in the morning. We're going through everything. We're taking a lot more out. You'll notice that there are less sort of bets that might be trainer changes or horses that trialled very poorly or unexplained runs from last time or horses that had every hope and were disappointing, or horses that are queries at distances. We're taking them out. We're reviewing them all, and we're trying to deliver the best product that we possibly can deliver, as well as me backing winners as well. Like that's, you know, a huge reason why I'm doing it too, because I'm betting off the form. So I'm reviewing everything, and well, you're backing. If you're backing the tips, I'm backing them as well. So if I'm backing a loser, you're backing a loser. Let's go and have a quick look at these tips, what they've gone well with to make them slightly better. So if we go back here to June the 12th to the 8th, and I'll just run that again. I'll just run this again. So there's a couple of things that I've worked on which have worked, and which is fantastic. The first one's the cruising rank. So these are horses that generally sit on pace. I haven't tested this over shorter distances, but it would over time. It will work over better over shorter distances. I'm not going to go into it this episode. I just picked out a couple of things that worked really well. So 764 bets out of that with a cruising rank of 10.8%. Let me show you where you can see the cruising rank on TKZ. If you go here to cruising acceleration metric and you go to there, the cruising rank, Kimberley Secrets is number one. On this as well. So Kimberley Secrets, the number one cruising rank from Spirit of Wealth on 87. So that's where you can see it on the King's Own site. Let's get back over here and have a look. The other thing was first up horses. So I put a lot of work into trying to identify patterns and also trials for first up horses. And first up horses I've always struggled with as well until the last sort of 12 months. Where I did a bit of an analysis on that and worked out a few things. So let's just have a look. 55 days or more, I consider a first upper. Let's run this and have a look. And see what we get. 14%, 449. So quite a lot of first up bets. 449, 14.6% profit. So those two I just picked out as beating the overall 5% significantly. But there's so much like what you see on your screen and you're seeing the factors. There's a lot deeper that goes into the pricing and also goes into the selections. The other things are just to give you a guide if you're mixing that into your form as well, because there is a lot of value on this screen that you can get. Your cruising acceleration metrics, your acceleration metrics that might go with your own stuff. Obviously the pricing, the comments, the factors as well, and everything here. The jockey edge, the race strength rating, that's a class rating, the class speed weight rating as well. Righto, what I just want to have quickly just go through, I'm just going to bang this out quickly. So this is my old system developer or analysis query. So I just want to have a look at favorites. People are very interested in favorites by broken down by different tracks. So this is just for metros and provincial tracks since 2018. Between the odds of $1, $1.40 and $3, so favorites at different tracks. I'm just going to go through and have a look at them there and see if we can discover anything. But you'll notice how stable the results are. They're not all over the place, and the reason being is because between $1.40 and $3, you're not going to get huge variance. If you're a roughy punter and you're over $10, you're going to get a lot more variance than if you just stick to backing favorites. I'm not suggesting that you just back favorites at all. I'm just saying that there's more variance backing longer priced horses. So let's go and have a quick look through this and see what we can find. So Ascot minus 1.8. I'll just read out the bigger ones. Belmont plus 1.2, or any discrepancies that I can see here. Canterbury -4, Canterbury Knight +2, Caulfield -4, Cranbourne +6, Cranbourne Knight -6, Devonport Synthetic +8.9 with 829 bets. Doomben -1, Eagle Farm. This is at Top Fluck, by the way. Eagle Farm +4.6. Darwin, Fanny Bay -7. Flemington -2. Then we go up to Geelong Synthetic, very poor at -10. There's only 100, sorry, Geelong Synthetic. They don't even do it. Geelong +2. Gold Coast -1. Gold Coast Poly +2. Hawkesbury +2.6. So you can see there's not, as I said, there's not huge discrepancies. Here's a good one at Launceston Night Meetings +7.8. Moonee Valley +6.9. Only 300 bets, but at Moonee Valley there's a profit. But Moonee Valley Night, which the rails often out, and they do get results -9.7. So a lot of faves getting rolled which doesn't surprise anyone at those Moonee Valley night meetings. Mornington -7, Morfettville -5. Morfettville Park's about square. Murray Bridge does pretty well, but no, actually, there's 2 Murray Bridges. Now, that'd be like +2 or something. It's just different spelling for some reason. Newcastle -2, Northern -2, Oakbank +4. Pioneer Park +1. Randwick Kenzo +1. Randwick itself -3.8. Sandown Hillside -2, but Sandown Lakeside is +7. So that's a pretty good result for Sandown Lakeside. The Sunshine Coast Poly night there's only 38 bets, don't worry about that. Sunshine Coast night meetings -7. Sunshine Coast Poly +3. Nothing much doing at Toowoomba. Warrnambool -4. Warwick Farmbout Square. Wellington Werribee showing a profit. Wyong +3. And that is about that. The other thing which I ran with favourites was jockeys. Just going to quickly go through these jockeys and have a look. Because there's so many, I'm just going to rattle through anything that looks interesting that has over 200 samples. So Alicia Collett is +11. And I'm going to keep going quite quickly. Angela Jones. Oh, sorry, I think she was -4 for Angela Jones. Nothing much doing there. Yeah, -4. Ashley Butler +3. Abdullah, Brenton Abdullah -8. McCool +17. Ben Mellon +10. Stewart -7. Parna -1. Rawilla -6. Shin -2. I'm just going to quickly go through these. You can see them on your screen there. See if we see anything interesting coming up. Newart's about square. Whiteley about square. Let's get these bigger sample sizes. Chris Parnham about square. Clinton Porter about square. Craig Williams +4.5. Damien Oliver -8. Stackhouse -5. Yendor -2. Damien Lane about square. Thornton about square. We'll bang through these. Ethan Brown +8 for Ethan Brown. These are on favourites, you've got to remember, but it's interesting. And James McDonald, who rides probably more winners when he's favourites, his strike rate there is virtually 40%, which is consistent with the others, I've got to say, around that. -3.88%. And look how many rides he's had too. 1-1-1-1. Huey +1. Jimmy Byrne +1. What else have we got? Holder +3. Jamie Mott -6. Josh Parr -1. Jason Collett +3. Jason Whiting -19 on favourites. Who else have we got? Toroke +6. James Orman +4. Jamie Carr +1. John Allen -9. Jordan Childs about square. Justin Stanley -2. McNeil -3. Latham -10. Kayla Crowther -2. I'm just reading out the ones over the sample size. Wilson Taylor -7. Luke Nolan about square. Tilly +2. Lucy Warwick +3. Mickey D +3. Zara -10. That surprised me. I thought he'd be higher than that. What else have we got? Mitchell Bell, Michael Mitchell Pateman, both -11. Ben Thompson -11. Who else we got? Linda Meach +7. Always been a very good jockey, I've thought, percentage-wise. Linda Meach, one of my faves. Noel Callow, 305 rides plus 20. Noel's on fire. Who else we got? Nash, plus 13. Always a good money jockey, Nash. Always has been. And great on a front runner. Carberry plus 3. Harvey plus 1. Maloney minus 9. Robbie Frad plus 5. Wiggins plus 4. Ryan Maloney plus 3. What else have we got? Bit of a low sample sizes. We go to Turner plus 4. We go to Timmy Clark plus 4. Todd Pannell minus 5. Tommy Berry plus 1. Tommy Sherry plus 11. Tyler Schiller minus 13. Wade Egan minus 3. Willie Pike. How are we going with Pike? Minus 6 for Willie Pike. 40% strike rate. 1960. He's ridden a lot of faves, Willie Pike. I reckon he's ridden more than anyone. Minus 6. Zach Lloyd, minus 8. Surprising as well for Zach Lloyd. Zach Spain, minus 7. So there it is with the jockeys. Interesting stuff. That's it for me. The lays I thought were in, but it wasn't updated. So I'm going to do them next week. I'll go through and have a look at lays and talk about lays, when to lay them, when not to lay them as well. Thanks very much for watching. Stay in the game, stay in the zone. I will be back Thursday, Saturday set, and max bet on Friday.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.